This story begins in the kingdom of Helmuth, where Vermuth and his 4 comrades have destroyed everything that belongs to the demon kingdom. Their objective is to defeat all the demon kings. At the moment, they have already defeated 3 of them. The bunch of comrades, except for Vermuth, are the wise Sienna, who is a profound wizard, the believer Anis, who is the healer of the team, the brave Mullen, who is the tank, and lastly the stupid Hamel, who is our protagonist. Hamel considers Vermuth as his rival. They dominate the kingdom. But suddenly a monster surprises Vermuth and catches him off guard. Hamel runs fast and protects him, thus receiving an attack that pierces his chest. In his last moments, Hamel spends his time saying goodbye to everyone who fought with his whole life, knowing that he will never get to see them ever again. He is now a child, and his past life was written down in a book. When he reincarnated, he kept the memories of his past life. It has been 300 years since his death on the mission to eliminate the Demon Kings. Coincidentally, he reincarnated as none other than the descendant of the hero Vermuth. Hamel is now called Eugene Lionheart and is only 13 years old. Vermuth had several women, but his only official lineage was from his wife. Several branches of his lineage exist, but the indirect branches are not taken into consideration. Eugene has the same Lionheart surname, but comes from an indirect branch. A lineage ceremony is coming soon where they will compete. Those from an indirect branch are forbidden to use a real sword and train the Manhwa. Eugene practices with a wooden sword. His father is a bit scared because Eugene doesn't look like a child. He has a scary gaze and a dark aura. Tomorrow is the lineage succession ceremony. It is a tradition that occurs once every 10 years. Both lines, direct and branch, participate. They choose children between 10 to 15 years old from the main house, and they compete to see who has the ability to be worthy of being called Lionheart. But the direct line, unlike the branch, could train with real weapons and train their Manhwa. This is because they don't want someone who comes from a branch to succeed more than those who come from the direct lineage. Instead, Eugene is incredibly talented. His father feels guilty for not possessing talent. There will be 3 children from the direct line and 6 from the branch, who are the competitors. One of the direct line children will be the son from the first wife, and the other 2 will be the twins from the second wife. 2 of the branches have a relatively larger authority, the others are trash. Eugene begins to remember his past. At that time he thought he was a genius, but he really wasn't. A real genius was the great Vermuth, praised by everyone and known as the god of war. His other sidekicks were also highly regarded in their fields. Eugene is frustrated and wonders if the Demon King is still alive to this day. In his past life, Vermuth promised him that he would kill the Demon King of imprisonment, and thanks to that promise that peace lasted up to now, 300 years later. They finally reach the main territory of the Lionhearts. Eugene arrives in the kingdom. Only those who belong to the direct line are allowed to wear an emblem on their left side. Eugene stays there, and there is a maid who will help him with anything he needs. Eugene asks her to show him the gym. Outside, there are a boy and a girl who have the emblem. These are the twins, and they are making fun of him for being poor. The 2 of them give him a warning. The other boy peeks out, but is quickly caught by the girl. Eugene is training with a wooden spear. The maid is amazed at how it moves. The twins arrive in the area. They are called Cyan and Seal. Cyan asks him what he is doing. Eugene says, "Can't you see I am wielding a spear?" and calls him an idiot. Cyan gets very angry and asks him to apologize. Eugene apologizes, but Cyan doesn't believe him. They keep taunting him and ask him to clean the carriage he used. Eugene tells the maid to clean it. Cyan starts yelling about why he is ignoring their order since he is Cyan Lionheart. Eugene mockingly says, "And I am Eugene Lionheart." Seal Lionheart also introduces herself. Cyan is still upset that he ignored his order, so he picks up a wooden sword from the floor and challenges him to a duel. Eugene tries not to accept the duel, but Cyan keeps insisting and gets annoying. In the end, he accepts and starts to take the weights off. He had weights on his clothes and throws them off. Cyan is surprised by how much weight he had. The 2 get into their positions, and in the blink of an eye, Eugene easily takes Cyan down. He makes him throw up, and his sister doesn't understand what happened and thinks he did train the Manhwa, saying it's unfair what he did, but in the end, she ends up accepting it. A man named Hezar arrives and comes to guide the young Cyan. He asks him what happened, and Eugene explains. In the end, they decide to retire and leave. Tonight, Another competitor will arrive, and the rest will arrive tomorrow. Cyan told his mother what happened. The mother is the second wife of the direct line Anislaya. She is enraged at how a commoner humiliated her son. Cyan apologizes to her, but she slaps him and asks Hezar to take him away and train him. She tells Seal to stay by Eugene's side. If she had the chance, she would kill him, but she'd be the first suspect. And then the guardians of the family code would come. He asks her to befriend him. The next day, the three heirs of the collateral lines arrived. Their names are Deacon aged 11, Hansen aged 14, and Juiz aged 10. The head of the family also arrived. Everyone gathers to welcome him. They all meet. The legal wife Theonis and the eldest son of the direct family are also there. Also, the first in the line of succession, Iode Lionheart. Gilade Lionheart arrives, and next to him is his younger brother Jin. Gilade greets everyone and invites them to dinner together. They are at the family table. The only others missing are Gargis and Desera. Despite the fact that they are from a branch family, they are highly regarded. There is a man who also accompanies them called Lobirian from the Red Tower. He is Sienna's disciple, or rather the disciple of Sienna's disciple. 300 years ago, Sienna ascended to Master of the Green Tower, becoming the youngest tower master in the history of Aeroth. She rebuilt the standard magic books in Aeroth. So, both Green and Red Towers keep the wise Sienna as their Grand Master. Gilade makes Cyan apologize to Eugene. He also praises Eugene. He is surprised to hear that Eugene practically trained alone and thus defeated his son. They start eating, and after the meal, they explain that the first test is a labyrinth. Inside the labyrinth, there are traps and monsters. But the monsters are Lobirian's illusions, even though he assured that they would feel very real. If they manage to defeat the labyrinth's boss, they will be able to pick a treasure from the Lionheart family treasure room. Dinner is over, and Eugene is walking when he runs into Gargis and Desera. They ask him if he really defeated Cyan. He answers that he did and leaves. Eugene goes outside to train, and Gargis and Desera arrive again. Desera challenges him to a spear fight since her specialty is spear fighting. Gargis will be the judge, and the fight begins. Eugene blocks all the attacks from Desera. Desera no longer knows what to do. After throwing multiple attacks, she thinks she found an opening, but is easily blocked, thus giving the victory to Eugene. Gargis and Desera want to join forces with Eugene in order to defeat the direct line, as this has never happened. Anislaya wants to find a way for her children to survive. She hopes that Iode will be chosen by Lobirian so that he will leave the family for a while. Her children will become stronger and take the first position of successor. The day of the test arrives. Lobirian provides them with a magic that allows them to create the weapon they want. Each one made their own weapon. Then he gave them a necklace that helps them to know if they are in danger or want to get out of the labyrinth. They all enter the portal that leads to the labyrinth. Eugene is used to labyrinths as in his past life he went through many. Thus, he has everything under his control. 3 have already been disqualified, and the others are still in the labyrinth. Lobirian and Gilade are observing each of them, analyzing their strengths and weaknesses. The eldest son seems more interested in magic, but he doesn't want to pursue that because of his mother. However, his father wants him to pursue his dreams. Lobirian comments that his favorite story is Sienna's. On the other hand, Gilade's most likely favorite character in the story was Hamel, although he didn't say so because he was shocked to see Eugene's ability. They were both speechless watching him fight. Surprised, they call him a genius because that troll was a test to find out how he escaped, not to fight him. Instead, he defeated him easily. Gargis also manages to defeat him, but he was so wounded that he faints. Cyan manages to escape from the troll and joins his sister Seal. Desera also appears and scares Cyan. He scares her due to his scream. This was actually an ambush, but it failed, so she tries to run away. The two chase her all the way to the end, and by chance, they reach the center of the labyrinth, and the final boss is there. Eugene was already there in a corner and asks, why did the 3 of them arrive together? I waited for them because I was curious about who arrived first, he says. Eugene was curious about who arrived first. Seal tells him it was him. What Eugene wants to do is give up the spot to them because if he fights alone, he easily defeats him. He comments that it would be sad for them who struggled to get there. The monster does not attack if you are not within a certain distance. He suggests attacking it by order of arrival. Desera goes first, then Cyan, and lastly Seal. Each one is going to fight alone. Eugene tells Desera that if she doesn't dare, she should surrender, but she doesn't. Cyan says if Eugene is going to fight, Eugene goes last, and if Cyan manages to defeat him, he will call Cyan Big Brother for the rest of his life. Which of course motivates Cyan. The final boss is a Minotaur. Desera is already face to face with the Minotaur. She starts the fight, but is easily overpowered. The Minotaur catches her and throws her away, thus ending the fight. It didn't attack her anymore since she is an illusion. Cyan's next. He turns his sword into Kai. This technique requires 10 years of practice in the mana to be able to achieve it. His Kai disappears because the one who created the labyrinth is Loberian, and he disabled the use of Kai, so everyone is on equal footing. Cyan goes straight for the Minotaur. Cyan manages to inflict small cuts on him, but they are not enough. He goes for its legs, but is blocked by the knee, then is caught and thrown, also missed. It's Seal's turn, but she prefers not to fight since she can't use Kai either. It would be all in vain. Eugene thinks she is smarter than her brother. He picks up his sword and shield. The fight begins. Eugene climbs up the Minotaur's body. He dodges all his attacks and goes all the way up to his head. The Minotaur throws a fist towards his face, thus hitting himself. Then Eugene begins to cut him in his neck, mainly in his artery, managing to knock him down completely and thus winning the fight. Cyan is speechless and feels some kind of emotion, but it is not fear. Most likely it is admiration towards his power. The ceremony is over. Gilade is surprised, but especially Loberian, since he could easily defeat and go through his labyrinth as if it was nothing. Gilade sent several men to investigate Eugene's town, where he is well known for his persistence in training. Gilade comments that he was born to fight. Loberian asks him if he doesn't mind that he is better than his sons. However, Gilade is happy because it will make the Lionheart name shine a whole lot brighter. Loberian continues to insist on what would happen if he decides to become the next heir and thus become the new leader of the Lionheart family. To which Gilade replies that the position of the head must be held by the best of the Lionhearts. If his family cannot secure it, it is rightfully his. Loberian proposes that Gilade adopt him as his son to prevent the collateral families from causing unrest.